Hi, this is Hank with Amada Senior Care Hoboken. Today we have a very special guest, Christine Travis. She's with SBG Life and Annuity. She is a life insurance and long-term care insurance planner. She's going to share with us a very special story about her mother and how she planned for her long-term care, and eventually she executed on that plan. Christine, thank you for joining us today. Would you like to tell us a little bit about your background?
Sure. I started in the business 23 years ago as a securities licensed retail financial advisor, and I segued into becoming a product wholesaler for a very large insurance company, and I specialized in life insurance and long-term care planning. I worked in all the major financial institutions and independent broker dealers, and now I work for an agency that represents all insurance carriers.
So can you tell us why it's so important to plan ahead for long-term care?
Absolutely. Oftentimes when there's an event and a loved one requires care, it's usually an 11th hour crisis. So the family is scrambling to put resources in place. It's a lot easier to do if you actually have planned ahead of time. It makes it a lot easier for the loved one who's in need of care, as well as the rest of the family members and anyone involved.
And can you let us know what happened with your mother that led her to needing care?
Yes, my mother slipped and missed a step in front of the dentist's office, and she fell and fractured her hip and cracked her femur, so she required surgery.
And what was her condition post-surgery?
Post-surgery, she was incapacitated, very much so, for at least a couple weeks after.
Could she bathe herself, go to the bathroom, dress herself, any of that?
Unfortunately, no. She was bedridden, and once she was released from the hospital, she had to move to a rehab facility.
Got it. And does your mother live alone?
She does. She's lived alone a very long time. She's been in her current home for almost 30 years.
And how long did she actually need care post-surgery?
In the facility, that was about a few weeks, but then she needed ongoing care in the home to remain independent.
And when she went home, what was the home care schedule like, and how did the caregivers assist?
So when she was released from the rehab facility and went back to her home, she did have some of the skilled medical care that was triggered by her event in the hospital. So she had 100 days of skilled care and some rehabilitative therapy. We coordinated with a caregiver to come in around those visits that were covered by Medicare, but she was receiving care pretty much daily for the first few weeks.
And what specifically were the caregivers assisting her with?
The activities of daily living, the eating, bathing, dressing, toileting, transferring. She was continent, but that is one of the ADLs.
Right.
In addition to that, they were making sure that she had groceries, that she was being fed. They were cooking, helping with cleaning, making sure she got to church when she was able to go.
Right. So they were fully assisting her.
Yes.
Got it. And were there any family members who lived nearby that could assist her?
Unfortunately, no. My sister lives in suburban Atlanta. I'm in New York City currently, and my aunt is about 2 hours away in Cincinnati.
Got it. So no one was really that close.
No, she had some very helpful neighbors. They did their best, but anybody that was family, far away.
Got it. So how often were you and your sister able to visit, given like you're a plane flight away, your sister's probably a couple hours drive?
Yeah, and when that happened, I was in Texas for a business meeting, which added a whole other layer. I was able to go back and see my mother in rehab and help coordinate everything. And my sister was able to come back and prepare her home and spend a week with her to make sure she was able to be there. After that, we were just able to come back for holiday visits, etc.
Got it. And was she open to having home care?
She was.
And how did that discussion go in the beginning?
Well, we had discussed it years before.
Okay.
And, she knew with us living far away that if she wanted to stay independent in her home, that was going to have to happen. But at the time, she knew when she got out of that facility, if she wanted to go home, the only way to go is if she had a caregiver.
So when the time actually came, she was well prepared mentally to have somebody step into her home to take care of her.
She was.
So oftentimes what we see when we introduce the concept to clients with their families, there's a lot of pushback. And it can be either because they're too proud, or they just honestly believe that they can take care of themselves.
Yeah.
So it can be very challenging sometimes to actually introduce the concept and actually get them to let someone assist them, especially with the private stuff like bathing and going to the bathroom.
Yes.
So how did it feel for you? Because you were, at the time, you said you were living in New York City when all this was going down.
Yes.
So what did that feel like?
It was a relief to know that when I left, after I was there to do what I could do to help her get situated, that there was going to be somebody nearby or in the home so that my sister and I were able to manage her care, even though we couldn't be there to do it. We had the care providers in place.
Right. And did it give you some level of comfort that you actually had a home care agency managing this process, so you didn't have to actually be there?
Yes, it was fantastic. The person came in, did an assessment, put together a plan of care, and we were in constant contact. We always knew what was going on.
And what was your overall experience with the home care agency, positive and negative?
Mostly positive. Again, very responsive. And the caregivers all did a fine job. There were times when there needed to be a personnel swap for various reasons, but there was never a gap in care.
And how's your mother doing now?
She's better. She's living independently. She's currently going through outpatient rehab, so it's an ongoing process.
Got it. And how does she feel about going through the process all over again?
Well, she's not stoked about it, but she knows that if she does, she probably will need another hip replacement. If she does have to have surgery, she's prepared to have a caregiver come into the home and assist.
And looking back, because you're a financial planner, you plan.
Yep.
How long before this actually happened, before did you put this all in place?
At least 10 years.
And 10 years is a long time.
Yeah.
Was there like a catalyst that said, hey, you need to do this, you need to do it right now?
Yes. My oldest sister had passed away in 2012. My grandmother, who had spent time in a facility, assisted living, had passed in 2013. I was moving away. My mom was retiring. So she knew if she wanted to stay independent in her home as long as possible, that was going to require putting a plan in place.
Got it. And so how specifically did you plan for this financially?
So my mother's always been risk averse, so we made sure that her assets, her principal was protected, that she had enough income to sustain her life in retirement. We knew there would not be enough money to pay for care, so we invested in a long-term care insurance product.
Got it. And can you tell us a little bit about this product, what it covered, what it didn't cover?
Yes. It's a life insurance-based product with a long-term care rider. Once you meet that technical definition of needing long-term care, then the insurance carrier will pay a monthly benefit in cash. So my mother is then able to take that money and use it to pay a caregiver or receive care anywhere, whether it's residential or in her community.
Got it. And this isn't a typical policy. This is what's called a hybrid.
Yeah.
And so how does a hybrid differ from a traditional long-term care insurance policy?
Traditional long-term care insurance policies, while they're good to have, still a viable product, they are pure insurance. The product is there. You hope you don't need it, kind of like health insurance, car insurance. Generally, if you don't use it, it does not pay a death benefit. Sometimes you can put a rider on for a return of premium. Those are usually reimbursement products where you're sending in the receipts and being reimbursed for the approved cost of care. An indemnity product just gives you the monthly benefit in cash. Once you meet that medical definition of a need for care, after 90 days, you start receiving benefits.
And I think you mentioned that your mother used her inheritance to pay for the insurance.
Yes.
Are there other options out there to pay for long-term care insurance?
Yes. You can pay out of your savings, your lifestyle income. You can use inherited IRAs. You can use the rule of 72T that allows you to take a penalty-free distribution. Work with a tax professional if you do that. We can repurpose old life insurance contracts with cash value. Oftentimes we can reposition old annuity products, possibly mitigating gains if you're using the money for long-term care when it's paid out.
Got it. So there are a lot of other creative solutions out there other than just taking cash out of your bank account.
Correct.
Got it. That's great.
Yes.
And let's flip over to legal. How did you plan for this from a legal perspective?
Well, my mother had a decades-old estate plan that needed to be updated, and that was the catalyst for getting the attorney there to get all the documents in place. My sister is the medical power of attorney. I'm her financial power of attorney, and we confer with my mother. My mom's still in control of everything. She's part of, she's making the decisions, we're part of it, but there will come a point in time where we may have to make the decisions for her. If you do not have a legal plan in place, you're not able to do that.
So after all this, any key takeaways from your experience that you'd like to share with us?
Yes, have a plan. It's not even about the funding mechanism. It's about the plan. So if you have done the homework and you understand how your loved one wants to be cared for, where they want to receive care, who they want to receive it from, what is that going to look like for them? and what are those resources that are available in your community. And then once you come up with a plan, you can look, does the portfolio support this, or do we need to come up with an alternative plan to create a stream of income to offset the expense?
Got it. So this is my last question for you.
Yes.
Do you have a fun, funny, or fond moment with your mother you'd like to share?
Yeah, a fond moment was a few months after this whole ordeal took place for her, and she was able to be independent again. She and I were having a phone conversation. She was in tears. She said that, she was very thankful that my sister and I were able to so easily figure everything out, because if she had to have done that herself in the state that she was in, there's no possible way that she could have done it. So the fact that we had everything under control, we had a plan, it made it so much easier for my mom to focus on recovery and for us to just focus on managing her care.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
So I'm going to flip it to you.
Okay.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. Do you have any questions for me?
I do actually. Yes. Let me get to my list of questions. So for you, one of the first things I want to ask you is, when it comes to have a time that somebody needs care, right? And you're the one going into the home, helping make the decisions. How much easier does it make on the family when they do have a plan in place, when they have long-term care insurance? How does that impact the decision making?
Right. So for me, it's a big relief because it makes the decision-making process so much faster and easier for the whole family.
Yes.
Oftentimes when there isn't any sort of long-term care insurance in place, the decision can either drag on or the family can decide, hey, we just don't need home care,
Yeah.
even though they do, and they'll try to do it on their own, or they'll, do minimal hours just to kind of get the minimal level of service to help their family member out, but not the amount that probably is needed from a safety or medical standpoint.
Got it. So if somebody does have the plan of care in place, obviously it eases the decision making. They don't have to contemplate what amount of care is given. They have the resources to do it. When that time comes, how can you lighten the burden for that family if they do have a policy?
Yeah, so what we like to say to our families is that it's not lighten the burden. We are completely taking the burden of managing the long-term care insurance policy away from them. So what we'll do from soup to nuts, we will call the insurance company with them and discuss their benefits. We'll activate the policy. We'll file claims with them. We'll follow up on claims with them. We'll make sure the elimination period is completely taken care of. And then after the elimination period is done, we'll step in the shoes of payment, which means that we will provide service and then we will look to the insurance company to provide that payment as long as it covers the service provided.
Wonderful. And then let's talk about the actual managed care aspect. Of course, if people want to stay in the home and remain independent, they are going to need a caregiver at their side to make sure that they are able to perform their activities of daily living safely. Tell me about how you guys provide ongoing care if somebody has to segue into an assisted living or a skilled nursing facility or even a continuing care community.
Sure. And this happens oftentimes when a client family member, they need one-on-one care. So maybe they become a fall risk for a certain period of time. And the assisted living facility, they just don't have the resources or the team to give one-on-one care for extended hours. So that's really when it comes into play, when someone either becomes a fall risk at night, for example, or they're a fall risk all the time.
Yeah.
We can come in and literally just be with that person as many hours as needed.
Nice. And I know that when my mom was in the skilled rehab facility, the staff was amazing, the facility was wonderful, but they were limited in how much time they were able to spend actually helping her. People might want to shower more often or just have company or be able to be a little more mobile inside the facility. So having additional care helps.
Got it.
Thank you. And I think you have some more questions for me,
Yes,
don't you?
I do.
All
I
right.
do. Okay, so let's hop into those.